doing that, I developed this strength and perseverance.
If you don't show up, guys, you know the outcome. You'll never get the job, never get the part, never get the girl if you don't show up. If you show up, you put yourself in a situation to create those opportunities.
It takes more effort to start in the beginning, and more people are right about the fact they're like, hey, you're not going to hit it big. And guess what? A month in, you're not. But they're only measuring on months. And at 6 months, you're also not going to have hit it big yet. And they're going to be like, I'm still right. And at a year, you're still not going to have hit it big. And they'll still be right. And every day that you haven't hit it, they're going to feel like they were right. But they're wrong, because they're measuring in days and you're measuring in decades.
I firmly believe when you give everything you got to something, right? I'm talking about blood, sweat, and tears, everything you got to something, right? The peace in that is not the result or the reward. The peace is the fact that I gave everything I had to it because this is who I am. So now, even if it doesn't turn out the way I want it to, I didn't go to the NFL. That was a dream I had since I was 7. It didn't happen, but it was a certain level of peace that resided inside of me because I knew September 9th, 2006, my last tackle, I can honestly say with every fiber of my being, I gave everything I had to. And so if God said, ain't this your time? We done with it? All right, cool, what's next?
I'm telling you right now, man, as a winner, 80% of the time, you're gonna feel like you're failing. 15% of the time, you're gonna feel like you're just treading water. You just got your nose above the waterline. 4% of the time, you feel like it's over. This is it, I'm about to tap out, but you don't, because that 1% of the time, my friend, that 1% of the time is when you know you're winning.
Take the biggest risks of your entire life right now. Remember, you have time.
Quitting. You'll regret it for the rest of your life.
It just got too hard.
It's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great.
Everybody's great when they're not tired. The champions is when they tired, that's when the real champions come out. That's when that real dog come out. Because if you go piss like a puppy, stay on the porch and let the big dogs eat. Let them on the field. Have some heart.
Look at all those people down there. They follow the rules for what? They're letting fear lead them.
What happens if they don't?
Life's simple. You make choices and you don't look back.
I think you can be anything you want to be.
Maybe in your world, Robert, it doesn't really happen that way in mine.
Change your world.
I never ran from anything because I never had nobody to go to. I've always had that, where I'm going. Home to get me. Ain't nobody there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so I've always been in a situation where I'm forced to deal with it myself, so.
Because if you're willing to go through all the battling you got to go through to get to where you want to get, who's got the right to stop you? I mean, maybe some of you guys got something you never finished, something you really want to do, something you never said to somebody, something. And you're told no, even after you pay your dues. Who's got the right to tell you that? Who? Nobody. It's your right to listen to your gut. It ain't nobody's right to say no after you earn the right to be where you want to be and do what you want to do.
And you go, I'm gonna take these 1%ers, I'm gonna stack them and stack them.
One day going to tell myself about what I got through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without the bad days, the story would be way more lame. There would be no glory in overcoming anything, because what did you overcome? It was all just 40 to 60, vanilla ice cream mush, gray, existence.
Yeah.
You're not even motivated yourself. Like, I want to wake you up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go, come on, man, we're going running. Like, I want to see what you do when you're tired. Let me see how you push yourself. Come on, man, get up again tomorrow, get up again tomorrow, get up again tomorrow. The next day, get up, keep going. How long can you maintain a positive attitude? Where's all this teaching? You're teaching people, you can't do yourself. You need to show people that you could do it.
And you might have 9 failures. I felt my first 9 businesses didn't really amount to anything. 9. As in the first one, spent time, failed. Second one, this one will be different, failed. Third one, this one, This is the one. And then 6 more after that, right? I'm just painting this picture because, like, it's painful as because the whole time, everyone...
Anything of value, you have to sacrifice.
I know that, Dad, but I think if we continue down this road, it's going to be too detrimental for the kids. It's just too hard.
Do you know that the harder thing to do and the right thing to do are usually the same thing? Nothing that has meaning is easy. Easy doesn't enter into growing life.
I'd like to let you in on a very important secret I learned when I was about your age, boy. You see, power, real power, doesn't come to those who are born strongest, or fastest, or smartest. No, it comes to those who will do anything to achieve it.
Hard work looks horrible. It's not motivating. It's not motivating at all. It ain't like Rocky round 14 where he gets knocked down and goes like this to Apollo Creed. It looks like a man being stuck in a dungeon and there's no way out. But you have the key. But you refuse to use it. And that's nothing motivating about that.
It is astounding how many people want to be spectacular in life but also want to fit in and be normal. Like, by being normal, you are, by definition, aiming for average. Normal people get normal results. Weird people get weird results. You literally can't do what everyone else does and not expect to get what everyone else has. By doing what everyone else does, you guarantee average results.
Well, you should be afraid of taking risks and pursuing something meaningful. But you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable. It's like the first thing you want to do is dispense with the idea that you get to have any permanent security outside of your ability to contend and adapt. It's the same issue with children. It's like you're paying a price by sitting there being miserable. You might say, well, the devil I know is better than the one I don't. It's like, don't be so sure of that. Clock is ticking. Yeah, and if you're miserable in your job now and you change nothing, in 5 years, you'll be much more miserable and you'll be a lot older.
You gotta work. Your time is gonna happen. You're here for a reason, but you gotta be ready, because if you're not, it's on you.
People who obsess about work-life balance are typically mediocre at both. Obsessed people apply their obsession to everything and just call it life.
Why go to a tournament if you're not going there to try and win? There's really no point in even going. That's the attitude I've had my entire life, and that's the attitude I will always have. As I would explain to my dad, second sucks, and third's even worse. That's just a feeling.
But on tour, that's not too bad sometimes, though.
That's not too bad, but I want to win. That's just my nature.
Here's the thing you have to do. You have to jump. There is no way around it. You have to jump. Every successful person has jumped. You got to jump. You got to take a leap of faith. You got to dash off that cliff, and you got to jump out there as far as you can.
You see this guy here staring back at you?
Yeah?
That's your toughest opponent. Every time you get into the ring, that's who you're going against. I believe that in boxing, and I do believe that in life.
Louis, a moment of pain is worth a lifetime of glory. Remember that.
The confidence comes from preparation. You know, so when the game's on the line, I'm not asking myself to do something that I haven't done thousands of times before, right? So when I prepare, I know what I'm capable of doing, I know what I'm comfortable doing, and I know what I'm not comfortable doing, right? And so in those moments, if it looks like I'm ice cold or not nervous, it's because I've done it thousands of times before, so what's one more time?
There's a payoff for bad eventually. There's a payoff. It can't be bad, but for so long. If you got the strength and the understanding to realize that, it will change. It will change. It's impossible.
But once I learned that the difference between him and I was just between the ears, once I was equipped with that, I started to believe that the sky was truly the limit for me. And I'm still that person today.
you have no fucking idea how great you really are. Because you are using such minimal of what you have. And if people can learn to focus, this is what's possible.
Is that when it feels scary to jump, Ian, that is exactly when you jump. Otherwise, you end up staying in the same place your whole life. And that I can't do.
You know, sometimes all you need is 20 seconds of insane courage. Just literally 20 seconds of just embarrassing bravery. And I promise you, something great will come of it.
I guess it comes down to a simple choice, bro.
Clear on the right.
Get busy living. You get busy dying.
The fact that the fear of the thing is only present when the thing hasn't started.
I just got real with myself, and every day I came home, I called the accountability mirror. What am I gonna do today to change what I see in this mirror?
So many times you have this misconception that winners are something special, that they're part, like I said, a part of a pedigree. And that's not the truth, man. Not at all.
I think that the more you flex whatever that muscle is of like independent thinking, the more it becomes the default way that you think. And then everyone else's actions just start looking more and more insane to you.
And I will say this, knowing what you don't want to do is the best possible place to be if you don't know what to do. Because knowing what you don't want to do leads you to figure out what is it you really do want to do.
Self-esteem comes from doing incredibly difficult things where you know you pushed yourself. It's not virtue signaling. It's not telling people about it. It's what you know inside your soul is true. And the more you do things that are incredibly difficult, and especially things that are meaningful, meaning you're not just about yourself, the higher that esteem would be.
What are you willing to struggle for? Anything worthwhile is going to require some degree of pain and struggle. So, if you're oriented toward the pain and the struggle, you're probably going to be more aligned with what you're capable of accomplishing, rather than if you just orient toward the pleasures.
I always say to people, I would never switch my life with anyone's life, no matter who it is. Because I think that I am the most privileged person in the world. I mean, it's like to be able to live this many types of lives, live the life of an athlete.
What I've learned is to always keep going. Always. You know, there's been times, particularly early in my career, where it just feels like this is the end. But what I've come to find out is that, you know, no matter what happens, the storm eventually ends. And when the storm does end, you want to make sure that you're ready. And so I've really learned to put one foot in front of the other, good, bad, or indifferent, because eventually that storm passes.
So discipline equals the importance of the goal. Plus, let's just say the importance of the goal to you. So the subjective importance of the goal. How much does that goal matter to you? Plus, the psychological enjoyment you get in the pursuit of the goal, right? So as you pursue the goal, how psychologically enjoyable and reinforcing and, you know, is that for you? Minus the psychological cost of the pursuit of the goal.
You know, if every time someone asks you a question, you try to say the right answer, your entire life is a test. And when did you have the most anxiety? In grammar school and high school? No question. On test day. No question. So your entire life become this test. I ain't trying to say the right answer. I am just doing what I feel. My mama said trying is failing. There is no ifs, woulds, coulds, shoulds. It just is, and we just are.
Don't try to be perfect. It's impossible. No one is perfect. If you make a mistake, you have to live with it, and you have to be able to grow from it. You can't continue to make mistake after mistake after mistake and then think that you're going to be able to come back from that.
And I would say the third one is to work hard, to sacrifice yourself. You have to go through hell sometimes, but you have to see the light at the end of it, you know, to keep your dream in mind is going to give you the motivation to go through the tough times. It's nothing easy. To go work is nothing you can accomplish without hard work.
You know what? I've just accepted. I'm only going to be happy when I'm grinding for something. That's right. I'm only going to be happy when I'm growing. I don't want to talk about stuff I used to do. I want to do something great with my life. I don't know that
I can get to the mental level you have, but I think everybody here needs to know something. If you just think you're gonna do something temporarily once, man, you're gonna be unhappy when it's over.
Hatred isn't something you avoid. He said it is a requisite for success. He said if you get no hate, you are not successful. And for some reason, that just like really stuck with me, because then it just like, rather than it being this thing that I was trying to avoid, it actually became a leading indicator or an indicator that I was on the right path in achieving things.
For me, very important are the short-term goals, and the long-term is where do I want to be in 6 months' time? Because if you never set yourself goals, you can never question yourself, because you just move from one to the next and you say, it's going to be okay. And the best thing I've done, to be honest, in the last 10 years, I think it was question myself at the best of times. When things are going great, what more can I do? How much better can I become? How much harder can I train?
That's why losing in life is so important, whether it's getting dumped, getting fired, losing a game, loss, those feelings where things didn't work out your way, that's important because it lets you know this is the bad feeling that comes when it goes wrong, and you improve, and then it makes the good feelings of victory all the better. And I mean that, in a relative sense, like even getting good at something, forget about victory, like making a terrible book that gets rejected by every publisher and then writing a really good one and people accept it and you're like, I got better. Yes. Like that
that's
feeling.
Interesting, yeah.
Those feelings of failure are really critical for your motivation.
That's interesting.
Something that you can control that's causing you stress, well, why aren't you getting control of it? Generally, it's a lack of discipline. So you gotta have the discipline to grab control and make it happen. And when I say you need discipline for that, what that means is these stresses that you're avoiding, they're not gonna go away if you avoid them. So take the discipline to face the stressful situation. Get ahead of it, don't be afraid of it.
What does your book look like? Like your life is a book. You got a bunch of chapters in your book, but when they close that book, how good was the book? How good was your book? What was the ending to your book? If the ending to my book can be so amazing because of all that was done, not the money, all that was accomplished, the first to do, the man that did this, he caused a merger between this. Because of his commitment and growth to this, the communities were then given this, made education this, changed the way the schooling was, blah, 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 gave books, gave computers, gave all of the things that can be associated with you and your existence.
Goal-oriented mind, particularly in sports, but I also in business or anything, really, I think is super important because the clarity, from my experience, is something that is essential to have also peace of mind and to have a calm heart, that you know what you're doing and that you set your goals, your short-term goals, your long-term goals, and you know exactly the strategy that you need to implement to achieve them. And you surround yourself with the people who are supporting you, but also people who are telling you what you don't want to hear, giving you constructive criticism, or maybe giving you non-constructive criticism and then putting you very down, but that's also part of the journey. It's also learning how to get up like a phoenix and rise and try to develop a thick skin.
It's about having the discipline to control your ego so your ego doesn't get out of hand and control you. It's about treating people the way you would want to be treated. And doing the tasks that you don't necessarily want to do, but that you know will help you or help your team. It's about facing your fears. It takes discipline to face your fears so you can conquer them. And that's what discipline is. Discipline means taking the hard road, the uphill road, to do what's right.
Decisions are not being made for you now. They're being made for you in 24 hours, and 24 days, and 24 months. You can see our decisions are investments that we make into our future. And the more ruminative and deep of a thinker that you are, the more you need to make decisions for your future self, not yourself right now. Does that make sense? So optimizing to gratify your desires in the moment at the expense of the way that you will feel and the story you will tell yourself about yourself in the future is rarely a good deal, because you live with the story of your decisions for far longer than the impact of them.
He practices an art that very few people appreciate, and it's the art of the maximized life. And that the discipline that he displays in his life and through his practices and all the things that he does, it's so difficult to live the way he lives, that for someone like me who understands it and knows what he's doing and appreciates it, and appreciates how insanely difficult it is to have a full-time job and run ultra marathons, get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, run a full marathon before work. Like, that's the kind of shit that he does.
Especially if you had given it your all to the degree you were able, and you have reason to be bitter, you're going to be searching for the errors that you still made. And discovering your own errors is always extremely painful, right? Especially if they're errors that you're in love with. And so you have to be willing to strip yourself down. That's what humility means fundamentally. And then, but the advantage is, this is why it's so useful to listen to people. You might find out where you're stupid, and then you can stop being stupid. And so one of the reasons you confess your sins, let's say, is because you want to discover where you're insufficient.
Freedom, right? We all want to have freedom. We want to have financial freedom. We want to have more free time. We want to have physical freedom. That's what we want. Everyone wants freedom, of course. But if you want to have freedom in your life, the way to get to freedom is through discipline. That's how you get there. So if you want to be financially free, you have to have financial discipline. You have to save your money. You have to work hard to earn more money. You have to not buy stupid things that you don't actually need, right? You need to save that money and invest it properly. All that takes discipline. And if you have that kind of discipline, you'll end up with more freedom. If you want to have more free time, everybody wants more free time. But if you want more free time, how are you going to get it? You have to have more disciplined time.
Once you change one thing, your mindset, you can attack everything. And I find it fascinating. I'm fascinated because I'll be in these moments. I put these guys on some pedestal.
Yeah. Which people do with you.
They do with me, and they shouldn't. And I was this guy who was patient, looking at this, my God, how are you guys? It's amazing. But once I worked my way up there, I said, my God, man, we can all compete. Let's go. So, do I like suffering? I like suffering in the way that is competitive.
Yep.
That brings out the absolute best in me and in everybody else.
You know, hard work pays. I put in a hell of a lot of work all throughout this build-up in the fight. I pumped out more content than anybody, more content than Fox, more content than ESPN, more content than BT Sport, more content than everybody on the Mag Live on my own channels. You know what I mean? I'm a workhorse from all angles, not just in the gym. I'm building this media empire now myself, and we pumped out the content. I'm very proud of how it went. We consistently, daily movies I was releasing, you know, from like a month ago, every single day. You know what I mean? Nobody's doing that. So I'm very proud of it, and I'm very, like, the work pays, hard work pays, and I put in the work, and that's why I'm sitting at the top. I put it all on the line, I show up, I perform, and I get the results from that. So
we lie to ourselves. We don't tell ourselves the way things really are. And when we do that, then we can't fix our problems. If we can't fix our problems, we're not going to improve. So we have to be truthful to ourselves. I have to be truthful to myself. You have to be truthful to yourself. You have to stop rationalizing, stop making excuses, stop telling yourself little watered down assessments of where you're really at. Tell yourself the truth. So that you can get where you want to go. You can be who you want to be. You can be who you should be. Who you should be when you do what you know you should do, when you pay attention to the little things.
The best way to prove your value is to work, is to learn, is to absorb, to be a sponge. You always want to outwork your potential. You know, as hard as you believe you can work harder than that. And that's what I tried to do when I first came in the league. But you know, basketball is such a direct competition sport that me coming in at 17, I hated when my teammates would say, I get hit with an elbow, right? Shaq would hit me with an elbow in practice. And like, you know, Nick Van Exel would come up and say, are you okay? I'm like, what? Are you okay? What the hell's wrong with you? You know, so like I always had that extra chip on my shoulder. So like every day in practice for me was really trying to annihilate everybody that I was playing against. Because I wanted to prove you don't need to babysit me. Like I'm fine.
People your whole life can tell you you're beautiful, you're perfect, you're the best, and you can still not believe them and be depressed about your life and think you're a nobody. Your life self-esteem, your self-esteem, esteem for yourself is earned by you doing something difficult for you. And you do something that's incredibly hard and you push through it, your brain starts to have inner pride, not fake ego pride.
On the way up, they root for you. And then when you're at the top, they try and tear you down because you remind them of the dreams that they couldn't accomplish, right? And so you quitting drinking or you staying in to work on your side hustle or your project or the business that you want to launch, the podcast, you might be at the top of their mountain. And so they are tearing you down because now you remind them that they haven't done it. And it's purely a projection of them onto you and has nothing to do with you.
It's everybody wants to compete. I think it's knowing how to compete, and also, true competitive instinct really kicks in when you're down. You know, like I said, a lot of people are competitive at things that are rolling their way. Things that they're naturally good at. But it takes a true competitive person to, when things are down like this, to really step up to the plate and go after it.
You need a path. And so if you want to make your relationship better, your business better, your life better, it starts with knowing what you want. You gotta say, what do I want? Why do I want it? And what kind of person would I have to be to have that stay? And then you got a second step where you got to find and tell yourself the truth, which is there's a gap between where I am and where I want to be. And don't bullshit yourself. Don't go, I'm a little overweight, or I'm fat because I'm big boned. No, you're fat because you have poor habits, right? That's how it works.
I think it's just giving yourself permission to suck. It's giving yourself permission to be unhappy. It's giving yourself permission to not achieve while you do for a long period of time. It's giving yourself permission to lose friends. It's giving yourself permission to do things that's different than people in your social circle or your age group are doing. It's giving yourself permission to be an exception so that you can become exceptional.
You want to change a certain habit. Science says it takes at least 21 days, right? For the brain to start growing, new neurons that are reprogramming. But if you don't have the right environment, that's going to be very, very challenging. So that was also one of the things that I wanted to reflect on in your question is the environment is the one that can be very stimulative to you. It can be really supportive, or it can be pulling you down.
Talk about this often, and we always talk about the fact that you can learn a lot more from the failures than you can from the successes. And you have to figure out where those landmines are and then how to best avoid those, or help entrepreneurs, and ourselves included, figure out the clues of where those landmines are. Not that you're going to avoid all of them.
Right.
But it's also when you do step on one, figuring out, okay, how do you recuperate? How do you balance back and pick yourself up?
Every worthwhile goal is worthwhile because it has a cost associated with it. And so the cost that you're going through is what makes the goal worthwhile to begin with. Because if what we're setting out to do were immediately available to you, then it would mean it would be immediately available to everyone, which means it wouldn't be worthwhile. So the very fact that it's difficult is why it is worth doing. And so we can't resent the price tag of the shoes that we want to buy. We just have to make the decision of whether or not we want to pay it.
Whenever I get to a low point where I think, why do I even bother? I just remind myself, this is where most people stop, and this is why they don't win. And this relates to another one, which is a reminder for the gladiators in the arena who feel beat up and scarred with no hope in sight. Building a business is hard. Hard feels This is what hard feels like. And this is why most people can't do it, but you can. This is what hard feels like. Is so nice to lean on. It is so nice to lean on. You cannot obtain from the world that which you really desire. You must teach yourself not to want it. If you cannot get what you want, you must teach yourself to want what you can get. This is a very frequent form of spiritual retreat in depth into a kind of inner citadel in which you lock yourself up against all of the fearful ills of the world. Mutual friend Rob Henderson explained it in a simpler way. If your leg is wounded, you can try to treat the leg. And if you can't, then you cut the leg off and denounce that the desire for legs is misguided and must be subdued. And I think that we see this everywhere.
This thing, you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for anybody else. Yes, your family supports you. Yes, your friends support you, but you're doing it for yourself at the end of the day. And you're the only one who's going out there on the track. So you gotta motivate yourself and you gotta want it as much as everybody else on the track. So I've learned that, so it's easier now. Certain people say, this season, oh, you're saying it's not running as fast as you should. It doesn't bother me because I've been through this already. And I know what they're gonna say all the time. But I know what I'm capable of and I know what I can do, so.
With me is I don't give a I don't give a I don't give a shit what anybody says or what anybody thinks. I have this mindset. I know exactly who the I am. I have my circle of people that I hang around with who know me and know what I'm about and whatever. And anybody else who doesn't like it or doesn't want it, bad.
Really developing who you are, right? You don't have to be afraid of yourself. So I would say that the inner monologue that I have with myself now is totally different than when I was a kid, but it's similar in terms of the approach and just being open-minded and being a man that's not afraid to stand on what you believe in and speak on what you believe in. So I'd say that.
Secret to success, I would say, first of all, is passion and consistency. You have to love what you do. You have to get up every day. And I get here every day at 9:30 in the morning. When we sold in 2016, a lot of people in the company made a lot of money. They all took off and they retired, right? Other than the Fertittas, I made the most money. I'm still here.
You put me in a room with 10,000 people any time of the day, and I walk in there thinking I'm the best in here. Because I know what it took to be on this stage, and a lot of people will not do that. So that's what it takes.
Because social media is making celebrities of all of us, and celebrities are the most miserable people in the world, right? Because they have this strong self-image that gets built up. It gets built up by compliments. Every time somebody pays you or me a compliment, and we're like, oh, well, thank you, right? Then that builds up an image of who we are. And then one idiot comes along, 1 out of 10, 1 out of 100, and they can easily tear it down. Because it doesn't take many insults to cancel out a lot of compliments. And now you're carrying around this big, weighty self-image, and it's just very easy to be attacked. And because you're famous or you're well-known, people want to attack you. So being a celebrity is no good. It's actually a problem.
But I have to be in it to win it. You know, I have to see the problem as a possible solution, not as a problem. That every problem isn't a problem, but a situation that I can manipulate with hard work, ingenuity, thought process to create a better end state. And that's what I'm doing. So,
and if you want to feel a great regret in life, it's making a decision against your instinct and then it failing. Making a decision in line with your instinct and then it failing is much less of a place to fall from than making a decision against your instincts and then it fails.
When you're on your way up, everyone roots for you because you remind them of their dreams. When you're at the top, everyone tears you down because you remind them that they gave up on them. And you have one, which is, for anyone who needs a reminder, no one is going to hate on you for doing worse than them.
When something happens to you, you don't deny it, you defy it. And I was defiant that I'm going to beat this, I'm going to handle this, that there are people who many times when something happens to them, that they embrace it from a place of fear and it takes them out.
But I'm saying that just like fitness can be a choice, health can be a choice, nutrition can be a choice, working hard and making money can be a choice, happiness is also a choice. If you're so smart, how come you aren't happy? How come you haven't figured that out? That's my challenge to all the people who think they're so smart and so capable. If you're so smart and capable, why can't you change this?
To get out of sadness, and I've been sad many times in my life, the thing that's helped me get out of it is realizing that a perceived lack of options is what causes sadness, not a lack of options, a perceived lack of options, which means that all I have to do is figure out what I need to do, and figuring it out becomes the option.
So, know what your mission is. Know what your intent
as the commander of your life, know what your intent is, and then fight with everything you've got to win.
I want to fail at something that I believe in. Because failing at something that I didn't believe in will suck more than any pain in my life. So if I do something and I believed in it, and it was in line with my instincts, and I fail, you go, cool, right? Okay, I've learned something here. But God, can you imagine the regret of acting out against your instincts and then it going badly? Like,
let me say something to you real clear. If you spend the rest of your life worrying about everybody thinks about you, someday you'll never have to worry about it again, because when you die, nobody will remember you were here. Stop worrying about what these people think about you. Live your dream. Worry about the people you love. And by the way, I know some of the very people you're doing it for are the ones not supporting you. They're the ones telling you to quit. They're the ones giving you heck. Just do it anyway.
Luck is one of those things that you shouldn't believe in, even if it's true, because believing it will hurt your agency. Just like victim mentality, right? Thinking you're a victim, even if it's true, don't believe it, because it'll just hurt your agency. Because you have no power as a victim. You have no power if things are up to luck. Whatever power you have in life comes from believing that you can change things and do things. And even if you can't change the outside, you can at least change the inside. No one controls your mind but you.
So it's impossible to listen to you and listen to what your mind and body are telling you we must do. People don't do enough of. They don't do any of it. They don't have passion. They lack passion, drive, determination, because you haven't spent time with yourself. Your mind will tell you what is next. But you haven't spent the time to go, all right, let me just figure this out.
On the other side of temporary pain, you meet your other self. If you can survive the temporary, you'll meet another version of you. I'm up here not because I'm super impressive, because I'm not. In fact, the security guards both told me, they're like, dude, I thought you were a lot bigger based on looking at your pictures. I'm like, thank you, both of you. Nice thing to tell me. Right? Which I was bigger, it's just COVID and I like to make excuses. So, if you can survive the temporary, you'll meet another version of yourself.
You aren't necessarily the best judge of what you need. And it's easy to be deluded in what you want. And that's the sort of delusions that people chase if they chase power. If you decide instead that you're going to just say what you believe to be true, you have to let go of the consequences. And you might think, well, I don't want to let go of the consequences because I want to control what's going on. But what you miss then is adventure, because if you don't control what's going on, you don't know what the hell's going to happen. And maybe that's exciting. And actually, there's no doubt about it.
I had to kind of function into the reality that the pressure was really coming from myself rather than externally, and that it's a good pressure. It's a pressure to be better and to become the best version of myself, and it's something that if I choose to use it properly, it's going to push me to be a better version of myself, to grow mentally, physically, in my relationships, however I want it to let me grow, if I choose to take control of the aspects I have control over. So in essence, the more pressure you have on you, and if you take it as a privilege, it's a choice. Put your perception as a privilege rather than a burden, and by taking the power back in that choice, pushes you in a direction of being better rather than holding you back.
Everyone usually only shows the world the best of themselves. This means that we see our own misery and our failings and foibles and vacillation from a front row seat while we watch the highlight reel of everyone else. And this makes us think that other people are doing better than they really are. And when we feel the delta between where we are and where we imagine they are, it hurts, right? There is no such thing as objective wealth. Everything is relative, and most relative to those around you.
Desire to me is a contract that you make with yourself to be unhappy until you get what you want. Okay, and I keep that in front of mind. So when I'm unhappy about something, I look for what is the underlying desire that I have that's not being fulfilled. It's okay to have desires. You're a biological creature. You're put on this earth. You have to do something. You have to have desires. You have a mission. But don't have too many. Don't pick them up unconsciously. Don't pick them up randomly. Don't have thousands of them. My coffee's too cold. Doesn't taste quite right. I'm not sitting perfectly. Oh, I wish it were warmer. Oh, my dog, pooped in the lawn. I didn't like that. Whatever it is. Pick your one overwhelming desire, and it's okay to suffer over that one. But on all the others, you want to let them go so you can be calm and peaceful and relaxed.
The balance of success, the balance of life. To see adversity, problems and such, as some things that complement the end goal, not something that's going to deter it or shut it down. Because we're always going to have problems. We're always going to have situations. We're always going to have things that are unforeseen. That, you know, our opportunity is to see them either as a negative or positive. Because these negative opportunities that have been, you know, slapping me in the face like Murphy's Law almost every day, there's 3 or 4 of them are coming up that I didn't think were going to come, are just really blessings in disguise that if I really absorb it the right way, you know, there's a pathway to a betterment of it.
If there's one unavoidable truth in this world, it's that there is no substitute for putting in the work. There is no shortcut or growth hack or magic pill that can get you around the hard work of doing your job well, of winning something you care about, or of making your dreams come true. People have tried to cut corners and skip steps in this process for as long as hard work has been hard. Eventually, those people either fall behind or get left in the dust, because working your ass off is the only thing that works 100% of the time for 100% of the things worth achieving. Work works. That is the bottom line.
But I'm doing it as an aid to humility. It's like, well, I don't know how to start improving my life. Someone might say that. And I would say, well, you're not aiming low enough. There's something you could do that you are regarding as trivial, that you could do, that you would do, that would result in an actual improvement. But it's not a big enough improvement for you, so you won't lower yourself enough to take the opportunity.
Yeah, there's no hack, bro. There's no hack. Yeah, you may this and that and saunas and all this shit. Yeah, it's great. There is no life hack. To grow that thing, how do you grow it? Do it, and do it, and do it, and do it. That's the hack. The hack is gonna suck. And that's what I realized.
You can't have an easy life and a great character. You can't, you've got to kind of go out there and decide what you want. That's the first great adventure. And then getting it is the second great adventure. So it sort of speaks to that thing of like wishing wells work. But they don't work when it's not the magic. The magic is you going, oh, what do I wish for? What do I want being the fundamental, like if you know what you want.
And you look tired, you look sad, you look this, you look that. Look, I go through life just like you do, okay? I have battles just like you do. I stand between my family and the world just like you do. And I take the beatings so they don't have to, just like you do. Sometimes I have to stand between the church and my family so they don't have to. And I take those beatings so that my family don't have to. Sometimes I stand between myself and my family because I'm just a human too. And sometimes we as men, we have to take the reality of what we are. And we have to take it and we have to crush it down and we have to put it inside and we have to shove it down. Why? Because we have to protect our family from us.
Your brain is like a supercomputer and your self-talk is the program that will run. So if you tell yourself you're not good at remembering names, you will not remember the name of the next person you meet because you program your supercomputer not to. And I always tell people that, and now I don't think the brain is like a supercomputer. I think it's a weak metaphor for what it is, because this is like a living computer that can do so much more and has different capabilities. But I would say that your self-talk is important.
You want to get better? You want to self-improve? Stop looking for a shortcut and go find your alarm clock. Find your discipline. And find your guts and your passion and your drive and find your will. And then you will find your freedom.
The greatest trick the devil ever played was making you believe that the pessimists are the good guys. Basically, just don't lie, don't wait. Like, life is happening right now. It is there for you to enjoy, it is there for you to take. Delayed gratification in the extreme just results in no gratification.
The sacrifice reward dynamic that you are used to is great in the micro and awful in the macro. It's not about waiting for personal growth to be over. It's not about waiting for something. Life is not happening in future. It is happening right now.
It's the sport of this is what I do every day. And people say, why do you do this? And I just said, because what would I do? I mean, if I can't come to the office and solve problems and fight with everybody and conquest something, you know, conquer, then what am I gonna do with myself? I'm gonna sit home and die? I mean, that's what I enjoy doing. This is my basketball. This is my game that I play. This is my pickup Monopoly game, whatever you want to call it, okay? I love going to the office and leading people and trying to conquer something. That's what I enjoy doing. It's sport.
It doesn't matter how far you might rise. At some point, you are bound to stumble, because if you're constantly doing what we do, raising the bar, if you are constantly pushing yourself higher, higher, the law of averages, not to mention the myth of Icarus, predicts that you will at some point fall. And when you do, I want you to know this, remember this. There is no such thing as failure. Failure is just life trying to move us in another direction. Now, when you're down there in the hole, it looks like failure. So this past year, I had to spoon feed those words to myself.
Dude, that's a part of life. You think you're the only man on this planet that's sad? Say, Dwayne, I'm going through depression. Well, welcome to the world. Welcome to the rest of us. You think I don't go through depression sometimes? You think I don't get sad sometimes? You think I don't just feel wore out and burnt plumb down to the bottom of my soul? We all do. We all do. That's what sets us apart. That's what makes us different. That's what makes us men.
You have to dive in that to find more. Because if you're not willing to go in there and face yourself, you're not gonna find anything. You're gonna live right here on surface, man, right here on surface. So there is an ending to this world, and there is somewhere to go, and there's a judgment. You're gonna get there and you might see a chart. And that chart may tell you who you should have been. And now you get the rest of your life to think about that. Man, I could have lived a much better life. If I just would have just suffered a little bit more. If I just would have went in that and realized I had so much more. But fear and the 40% and living here versus living here, being afraid, stop me.
But most importantly, man, you gotta look at things and say, like at a certain point, like eliminate the outcome. Stop being driven by rewards. Stop being driven by outcomes. Stop being driven by, if I get this, I'm gonna do this. Just work. And if you don't get what you thought you were gonna get, show up and still go to work. Because along the process, what's more important, what you acquire or who you become? And a lot of people think what they acquire is the thing that makes them who they are. No, it's who you become in the process of chasing what you want to acquire, right? Change expectation for appreciation. Extract the lessons and the blessings from the situations that didn't turn out the way you wanted them to turn out. But most importantly, man, approach it and eliminate the outcome, right? Just go for it, work, go to work.
It don't matter how much it feel like it ain't gonna work. Delusion. Complete delusion. You gotta believe the delusion. Because it's only delusional until it works. So is it really delusional? I'm only gonna call it delusion until it don't work for nobody else to see, but for the whole world to see. And then once the world see it, there's nothing delusional about it. Now, your delusion becomes, oh, he was a genius. We didn't see it when he saw it. We didn't understand it when he did. We thought this was crazy. But he definitely always figured this thing was the thing to do, and he stuck by that.
The world belongs to optimists, because if you're going to do anything big, you have to believe that it can happen. Otherwise, it never will. Sean Puri says the cynics get to be right and the optimists get to be rich. 99% right and 100% wrong. They're right 99% of the time, but they're wrong 100% because the only thing that matters is the big one at the end. Your family and friends will say that every girl you ever date is not good enough, except for the one time you find the girl that you're actually going to marry, or that this business idea won't work, and you might have 9 failures. My first 9 businesses didn't really amount to anything. 9, as in the first one, I spent time on it, it failed. Second one, this one will be different, spent time on it, failed. And the third one, this one, failed. And then 6 more after that. And it's painful as shit because the whole time everyone is telling you, I told you so, and they're right, today.
Better do it again tomorrow, or do something else. Because if I just think, well, tomorrow I'm just gonna coast and eat Twinkies and watch TV. Oh, hello sadness, my old friend. Hello depression. Because when you're not doing anything, you feel like shit.
So I started flipping this into a whole different, I started being a master of what I was scared of. I was scared of my mind. And I became literally a master of that mind. And that's what now, from now on, it sets me apart from most people. I started diving into that.
And that's just a part of being a human being. And we can pretend that we're something other than what we really are. And we can pretend, nah, me, man, I'm just cool, just chilling, doing nothing. Bullshit. You're a human. You're a human being. You evolved from the hundreds of thousands of years of hunters and gatherers and people that were struggling. Those human reward systems are carved deeply into your DNA. And if you don't respect that, if you don't respect the mechanism of happiness and fulfillment and what you really need to do in order to feel satisfied in life, camaraderie, love, family, friendship, struggle, testing yourself, learning, all those things are imperative. They're all a giant part of being a person.
I watched these movies. I talked about Rocky last time I was on here. I always equated training to mental toughening. Like, it always looked brutal. People waking up early and doing all these things, and it looked horrible. I was like, wow, man, I gotta start doing that. Not to get better, bigger, and stronger, but that is what's gonna build me. That looks uncomfortable. That looks brutal. And getting up early, I don't wanna do that. So I made this long list of things I don't wanna do. And through that, I found myself. I started, I'm like, you guys aren't doing this shit in high school. You guys aren't getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, running over here in this golf course. So I started seeing myself very differently than the average human being. I was like, hold on a second. I have something they don't have. And that's when I started to develop these things through working out. It was this great, never-ending work ethic. And through work ethic, I developed self-esteem.
Emotions come and go. The important thing is to accept them all, to embrace them all, and then you can choose to do with them what you want versus being controlled by emotion. You know, a lot of times I've seen players, even myself, you know, when I was younger, being consumed by a particular fear, and to the point where you're saying, okay, nah, it's not good to feel fear. I shouldn't be nervous in this situation right now. And it does nothing but grow versus stepping back and saying, yeah, I am nervous about the situation. Yeah, I am fearful about the situation. Well, what am I afraid of? And then you kind of unpack it. And then it gives you the ability to look at it for really what it is, which is nothing more than your imagination running its course.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I love that, because what you're saying is that when you're dealing with something, it's almost like, how can I get to the root of it?
Yeah.
Because sometimes what we're dealing with, like you're saying, it's an imagination, an illusion. It's not really...
It's not really a thing.
Or next time you're facing a fear, next time you're going against something, do that. Like literally unpack it. Don't just settle for your first answer, because the first answer is rarely the right one.
Yeah, don't hide from it. You know, you got to be able to look at it and, you know, and deal with it head on.
Yeah, I love that, man.
If you don't change what you're doing and how you do it, nothing else will change.
I don't want to live in a hole anymore. It makes me feel poor.
We are poor, but we're happy.
Come see, come sa. Anyway, the views are better above ground. Honey, I'm 7 non-Fox years old now. My father died at 7.5. I don't want to live in a hole anymore. And I'm going to do something about it.
I'm going to have setbacks, I know. But if I'm feeling bad, that doesn't mean I'm doing bad. That doesn't mean I am bad. That doesn't mean that I can't still take some action. Because, yeah, nothing changes if nothing changes, man.
At some point, everything's gonna go south on you. Everything's gonna go south, and you're gonna say, this is it. This is how I end. Now, you can either accept that, or you can get to work. That's all it is. You just begin.
There's a quote that I've fallen in love with. The magic you are looking for is in the work you're avoiding.
Yeah.
Dude, the magic you are looking for is in the work you're avoiding.
Never consider the possibility of failure. Every person here is here because they refuse to quit when the going got rough. Your ability to persist in the face of setbacks and disappointments is vital to all great achievement, and it's always a decision that you make. It's not the external environment, it's always the internal environment.
I don't care how good you are in anything, you don't have discipline, you ain't nobody.
Right.
You're nothing without discipline, because you give up under the slightest struggle without discipline.
100%.
I mean, discipline is doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it.
Most of us, we live in a box, and we don't want to go outside that box at all, ever. Outside that box is all these possibilities of life. What people understand is that they live for themselves, not knowing that you have the power within yourself to change millions of lives by facing life, by facing yourself. I now know that there is no cap on the human mind. There's no cap. We cap it ourselves. And through that, I would die never knowing that I had the power to change millions of lives.
There's a great Chinese expression, a great old proverb. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is now.
So you overcome procrastination with a very, very simple method. It was developed by W. Clement Stone when he was a young man. He built a fortune of $500 million, and this is one of the central principles of his life. It's simply this. Every morning when you get up, say over and over to yourself, do it now, do it now, do it now, I do it now, do it now. Whenever you have this tendency to procrastinate, program your subconscious mind with this automatic conditioned command, do it now, do it now, do it now. The key to overcoming procrastination is to develop a sense of urgency. Be the kind of person who gets things done quickly. Be the kind of person who launches fast on a task.
Everybody just wants to be comfortable. Everybody wants to sit in the car. I don't want to go outside, it's cold. I don't want to do this, it's hot. Like, you've got to do things that you don't want to do because you show your body that your mind is the boss. Your mind is telling your body what to do, and then you have control.
Well, life took me somewhere unexpected. I'm unprepared. It's about 6 degrees out here, and I'm underdressed. But guess what? No one gives a f. You gotta get the in. Sometimes life can really hijack your mind. When that happens to you, you're all up. Your goals, your ambitions, everything is out the window. In life, we all go through different things. Sometimes your girlfriend or boyfriend breaks up with you. Guess what? Get the over it. They no longer want you. Maybe you failed a test in school. You worked your ass off. Guess what? You failed the test. Get over it. Move past it. Learn to not let life hijack your brain. At work, you've been working your ass off for that new promotion. You don't get it. Someone else does. Maybe they kiss better than you do. Guess what? Get over it. Life will hijack your mind if you let it. Don't allow all these things to make you a lesser person. You must own your mind. Don't let life own yours.
You can't wait for everything to be perfect to start living your life. That's what I've done. My whole life has been like that. Inside of me, it has been, as soon as it's all lined up, I'm going to show you myself. As soon as I've got it all looking the way I want, I'm going to show up for you.
This is my life. I said, this is my life. You are exactly who the f. This is it. And I said, this ain't going to be it for me. In that restaurant, I quit my job, left my canister in that restaurant, my spray canister, got back in my Ecolab truck, and I went home. And I started working out like somebody. I became the most obsessed person on the planet Earth. And I was basically, I had to invent a guy that didn't exist. I had to invent a guy that can take any pain, any suffering, any kind of judgment, be called whatever the f in the world, and be able to stand in the room and say, go f yourself. I had to build this callous mind, and I built it through suffering.
If you think the price of winning is too high, wait till you get the bill from regret.
The unfulfilled potential is the story of most people's lives.
It is. It is. And it could have been the story of mine. And I tell a lot of people go, what's your biggest fear in life? And my biggest fear, honestly, was, let's say this. Let's say, I don't care if you believe in God or not. I don't care. So this is play a game with me. Let's say you're God. And we have a big, long line of people. And I made it to heaven. I'm 75 years old. I'm 300 pounds. I made it to heaven. I worked for Ecolab my entire life, spraying for cockroaches. That's what I did. But I'm dead. I'm in heaven now. And you're judging us all now. So we're in line. We're all sitting there in line. You have Adam Brown. He has a big board up, and you're talking to Adam Brown about his life. and you rip it down, and I'm next in line, David Goggins. I see my name, and I see all this. God goes, hey, you say, read this, man. Now I'm reading this list, and I'm seeing 182 pounds, Navy SEAL, Ranger School, motivational speaker, changing lives. Okay, man, pull-up record, all this. And I'm like, that's not me, man. And God looks at me and says, that's who you were supposed to be.
Everything is possible in your life when you believe. When you believe, everything is possible. You have two hands. Amen. Everything is possible. Go. And take it whatever you want to do.
Success usually comes to those who are too busy who be looking for it. They're always working towards it. If you want ordinary, don't risk everything. Risk everything if you want extraordinary. Just make sure that it's calculated.
Is that when it feels scary to jump, that is exactly when you jump. Otherwise, you end up staying in the same place your whole life. And that I can't do.
Nothing is permanent. Nothing is permanent. And a lot of times you have to learn to perform without motivation. You have to learn to perform without purpose. You have to learn to perform a lot of different things. And that's what people think. They think I need to have this motivation to work out, to study, to be better. So if they don't have it, they just don't do it.
So I was at work the other day, and I've just been kind of in this like rut at work. It's not a bad job, but I just really want to get out of it. So I was catching up on some of your podcasts, and you said something that like resonated with me. You know, you said, nothing changes if nothing changes. I thought about it, and I went home and I applied for a job I'm probably not qualified for, but I was like, I'll just take a shot. And the next day I get a call from them. I have the interview, it goes well. She says she's gonna set me up with in-person interview. Never even had it. They emailed me a few days later, and I got the job. So now I'm gonna be doing a job that I think I will appreciate more and enjoy more, and I'll be making double the money that I'm making now.
This society is too weak. And why? Because of all the technology which is available right now, so you don't need to use your body anymore. I always think about in the Stone Ages. Do you think somebody in the Stone Ages had depression? Yeah, or even a more modern variation, the Spartans. Do you think they had depression? You know, maybe you are laughing, but all of these groups, they are too busy with their body, they are too busy with activity to be depressed. Yeah, but nowadays, how does the time look? You can sit if you want from morning till evening just in front of the screen, and nothing's gonna happen anymore.
What can happen if we decide, I'm gonna see what happens when I decide that I am qualified? What happens when I decide for myself that I'm gonna do something different?
Everything worthwhile is uphill. You see, every dream that you've ever had, it's all uphill. If you have a great relationship with somebody, you had to work on it. It's uphill. If you've built a wonderful business, guess what? It was uphill. If you've made the right decisions, they're not easy, are they? It's uphill. And the only way that you can go uphill is to be intentional. Nobody ever accidentally went uphill. You've never talked to a successful person and said, how did you get to the top of the mountain? And then look at you and say, I have no idea. If they're at the top of the mountain, they know how they got there. Because they had to have effort. It took energy. It took time. Everything worthwhile is uphill.
There's no passion. There's no motivation. There's no, oh my God, man, no. It's every day of your life just doing. No passion, no discipline, no motivation. All these words, I hate that so many people use these words now because it's watered. It's someone sitting in a room by themselves and they figure themselves out and say, God, this is gonna suck. Where's passion? when you're 300 pounds? Where's the motivation when you can't read and write? Where is it? So how did this happen? I just did. I just did.
Everybody's asleep, man, or just getting home after a long night. You know, going out there partying. It's Friday night. It's close to 3 in the morning right now. You know, the thing is, man, it's always going to be a party. There's always going to be a time to celebrate, and there's a time to join friends, or a day to, I mean, the bars are always open. Always open. No matter how old you are, they're always open, you know? What's not always open is the opportunity to check the box in life. You know, to achieve your dreams. That's not always open, man.
You know what a loser is? A real loser is somebody that's so afraid of not winning, they don't even try.
I never forget one time I was running by a graveyard when I was just trying to become, I was fat. And I ran by a graveyard and I looked out there and I have all these epiphanies, man. I have all these moments of like, it's crazy, man, of just thought. Cause I'm always by myself. I'm always in deep thought about how to be better. And I look out there, I'm like, man, I wonder how many of you mother in there just are so upset with how you lived your life and just regret how you lived it. And I'm running a 300-pound man thinking, man, don't fucking die like this, bro. Don't die like this. So people wonder where this shit comes from me. It comes from such deep thought of trying to see what this is all about. What is this life all about? What am I all about? Why am I here?
It was life and death. Either you live or you die. Which one do you want, Tom? That was the decision. In the corporate life and in the gym. But if you want something bad enough, you can't let anybody tell you you can't do something. I'll repeat that. If you want something bad enough, you can't let anybody tell you you can't do something, not even yourself. A lot of days I'm like, oh, you can't do this, Tom. You can't be as quick as a 30-year-old on the computer. Well, let me show you. I mean, I would have arguments with myself. I could do it. People doubted me. I doubted myself sometimes, too. But you know what? I watched Arnold fall down. Nobody remembers when he fell down.